There was a young girl named Ella who lived in a big city with her mom. They lived in a small apartment, and all around them were tall buildings. But even though they were surrounded by concrete and steel, Ella and her mom loved nature very much. Every weekend they would take the subway to the other side of the city to visit a huge park. The park had a lake with colorful ducks swimming in it, lots of trees to climb, and flowers of all colors and kinds growing everywhere. It was truly a beautiful place to spend the weekend. One weekend while walking through the park, Ella and her mother saw something that made them very sad. All around the park were people who had come to enjoy themselves, and some of them had brought their food with them to eat in the park. But instead of throwing their trash in the garbage cans, they just left it lying around. "It's so sad," Ella told her mom. "All these beautiful flowers and trees, and these people are just littering." Her mom nodded and said, "You're right, Ella. We have to do something about this." And so they picked up all the trash they could find and threw it in the garbage cans. After they finished cleaning, Ella and her mom sat down on a nearby bench to rest. And then Ella asked her mom if they could plant a tree in the park. "We can take care of it, and then it will grow big and strong and beautiful." Her mom agreed, and they went to look for a tree to plant. They walked past oak trees and maple trees and birch trees, but none of them looked right to Ella. Then she saw a small willow tree with long, flowing branches. "That's the one," she told her mom. So they went over to the tree and started digging a hole to plant it. But when they got down to the roots, they realized the tree was too big for the hole they had dug. "Don't worry, Ella," her mom said. "We'll just need to dig a bigger one." So they kept digging until finally the tree fit in the hole. Then they filled in the dirt and watered the tree. And even though it was a bit scary to plant such a big tree all by themselves, Ella and her mom knew that with a little love and care, the tree would grow to be strong and healthy. As the years passed, Ella grew older and taller, just like the willow tree they had planted together. Every weekend she and her mom would come to the park and water the tree, making sure it grew to be the strongest and healthiest it could be. One day, while Ella was watering the tree, she noticed something strange. The ground around the tree was covered in little pebbles and sticks, but there weren't any flowers. "Mom, why doesn't the tree have any flowers?" she asked. Her mom thought for a moment. Maybe it's because the tree is too young. We'll just have to wait and see." Ella wasn't so sure, but she continued to water the tree every weekend, hoping that someday it would bloom. Many months passed and the willow tree continued to grow, but still no flowers. Ella started to think that her mom might be right. Maybe the tree was just too young to bloom. One day, Ella and her mom were sitting on a bench under the willow tree when they saw a group of kids running around the tree. "Don't go too close," one of the boys shouted. "You might break off one of its branches." Ella and her mom looked at each other and then back at the tree. The willow tree was so tall now that its branches hung all the way to the ground, and Ella realized that all those years of watering and caring for the tree had paid off. It was strong, healthy, and beautiful, but she couldn't help but wonder, would the tree ever bloom? As the years passed, Ella grew older and the willow tree continued to grow taller and stronger. Every weekend she would come to the park and water the tree, talking to it about her week and listening as the tree whispered its secrets to her. One day, Ella came to the park and noticed something strange. The willow tree was covered in hundreds of tiny buds, each one more beautiful than the last. "Mom, look," she shouted. "The tree has flowers." Ella and her mom stood there for hours watching the tree bloom. Every color imaginable could be found on the willow tree, from the deepest red to the brightest yellow, and each flower was more beautiful than the last. As the sun began to set, Ella and her mom sat down on a nearby bench to rest. "Thank you, willow tree, for being my friend," Ella whispered. "I love you." And the willow tree rustled its leaves as if in agreement. From that day on, Ella and her mom continued to care for the willow tree, making sure it always had enough water and that no one ever tried to harm it. One day, Ella came to the park and saw that the willow tree was wilting. Its leaves were drooping and its flowers were wilted. "Oh, no," Ella cried. "What's wrong with the tree?" Just then, an old woman appeared beside her. "What's wrong with my tree?" Ella asked. The old woman shook her head. "You don't understand, child. Your tree is dying." Ella's heart sank. She couldn't imagine what the park would be like without the willow tree. "Is there anything I can do to save it?" she asked. The old woman nodded. "Yes, there is. You must bring me a bucket of water from the lake and I will use it to water your tree." Ella didn't know why the old woman wanted her to bring the water from the lake, but she was desperate to save the tree, so she ran off to get a bucket. When she returned, the old woman took the bucket and walked over to the tree. She poured the water onto the roots and then began to sing a strange song. As she sang, the tree began to stir. Its leaves perked up and its flowers began to open. When the song was finished, the old woman turned to Ella and smiled. "Your tree is fine now, child. I am the guardian of this park, and I have been watching over your tree for many years. You have done a good job taking care of it, and I am grateful." Then the old woman disappeared, leaving Ella alone with her thoughts. Ella didn't know what to make of the old woman or her strange song, but she was just glad that her tree was saved. From that day on, Ella continued to care for the willow tree, and every year it grew more beautiful than the last. One day, Ella and her mom were sitting under the tree when they heard a loud crack. They looked up and saw that a large branch had broken off the tree and was lying on the ground. "Oh, no," Ella cried. "The tree is dying again." Just then, the old woman appeared beside them. "What's wrong, child?" she asked. Ella told her about the branch that had fallen off the tree, and the old woman nodded. "I see. Your tree is not dying, but it is changing." Ella wasn't sure what the old woman meant, but she knew that the tree needed help. So she and her mom spent the next few days clearing away the fallen branches and making sure the tree had enough water. One day, while Ella was watering the tree, she noticed something strange. There were hundreds of tiny sprouts coming out of the ground around the tree. "Mom, look," she shouted. "The tree is growing new branches." And that's exactly what was happening. The willow tree was growing new branches, and each one was more beautiful than the last. As the years passed, the willow tree grew to be the largest and most beautiful tree in the park. Its branches provided shade for the weary, and its flowers provided food for the bees. The old woman often came to sit under the tree, and she would tell Ella stories about the trees past and how it had once been a small sapling. One day, the old woman told Ella that it was time for her to take care of the tree on her own. "You are a strong and capable young woman now, and I know you will continue to take good care of the tree." Ella was sad to see the old woman go, but she knew it was time for her to take over. From that day on, Ella continued to care for the willow tree, and she never forgot the lessons she had learned from her mom and the old woman. She knew that the tree was more than just a plant. It was a living, breathing thing that needed to be respected and cared for. And she also knew that the tree was a source of beauty in life, and she was grateful to have it in her life. And so Ella and the willow tree remained friends forever, taking care of each other and providing comfort and shade for all who needed it.